Welcome back to Homeo Vision YouTube channel and a very good day to all of you watching this video. I am Dr. Gauthami Deshmukh and let us continue with our Organon of Medicine lecture series. In this video, we will discuss about aphorism number 15. So let me tell you this aphorism number 15 is like a small summary or it is like a small conclusion to the 13th and the 14th aphorisms that we discussed in the previous video. So in that previous video, we just learned that we cannot consider disease as a separate entity and that it is and that we know that every disease makes itself known to the physician through signs and symptoms. And this completely agrees with the law of God or with nature. So this was the gist of aphorism number 13 and 14. Now aphorism number 15 comes like a conclusion to these two aphorisms. All right. Now let us first read this aphorism. All right. Okay. So here Hahnemann says that the affection of the morbidly deranged, spirit-like dynamis, that is nothing but the vital force. So the morbidly deranged vital force that animates our body in the invisible interior. Okay, so this is one thing, that is the morbidly deranged vital force and the totality of the outwardly cognizable symptoms produced by it in the organism and representing the existing malady. Meaning, we have also, so here in the first line, he says that we have one thing, that is the morbidly deranged spirit-like dynamis, that is vital force. So the vital force that animates our body, something that is present in the invisible interior, that is one thing. Second, he says that the totality of the symptoms, okay, and the totality of symptoms is nothing but the outward symptoms, correct? It is something that is external manifestations of the deranged vital force. So second is the totality of the symptoms, okay, produced by the deranged vital force. Produced by it is nothing but the deranged vital force in the organism. And this totality of symptoms is nothing but something that is representing the existing malady. That is something that is representing or reflecting the internally deranged vital force. Okay, these two things, they constitute a whole. They are one and the same. All right. Now, I will write this in simple words. So here they are saying that the deranged vital force, correct, the morbidly deranged vital force, and the totality of the symptoms. This totality of the symptoms is nothing but something that is representing the disease, correct? So both of these are same, okay, representing the disease. See, but the modern system of medicine does not consider this to be true. Okay, they do not accept this. They consider disease as something and vital force something it is not even there in the picture for them. Correct. And they also consider disease as something that is separate from the organism itself. But here, as homeopaths, okay, as people who believe in the dynamic energy, we consider that the morbidly deranged vital force and the totality of the symptoms, and that is the signs and symptoms, the perceptible signs and symptoms that is produced by this deranged vital force, which is in turn representing the disease. These two are one and the same. Okay, so the deranged vital force and the symptoms that is produced by the deranged vital force, they constitute a whole. They are one and the same. Okay, here he says this. Second, okay, this is one part. Let us go to the next part. Here he says that the organism. I will read it out, but before that, let me just give you a gist so that you can understand these sentences better. He says that the material organism and the vital force are also one and the same. Okay, they constitute a whole. Basically, it's not one and the same. They constitute a whole. They constitute a unity. Okay, they are one unit. The organism and the vital force is also one unit. So we know that the organism is a material body. And we know that the vital force is something that is imperceptible, something that is immaterial, something that we cannot see. Okay, but they together, okay, these two entities, that is the organism, the material organism, the instrument of life, okay, as we will read it here, and the vital force, the dynamic force, both of them, they constitute a whole. They are one unit. Okay, let me read this and then again explain it to you. The organism is indeed the material instrument of life. Okay, we agree to that. So organism is the materialistic part of this unity, and the immaterial part will become the vital force. All right. So the organism is indeed the material instrument of life, but it is not conceivable without the animation imparted to it by the instinctively perceiving and regulating vital force. Okay. So he is saying that yes, we do agree that the organism is a material instrument, but there is no organism without vital force. So as we have learned in aphorism number 10, there we learn that without vital force, there is no sensation, there is no function, there is no self-preservation, which means that the organism is dead. So we cannot recognize the organism. So if the organism is moving, breathing, running, or existing, or doing any activity for that matter, if the organism is alive, it is because of the vital force. So we can recognize the organism because of the vital force, correct? Because of the animation that is given to it by the instinctively perceiving and regulating vital force. Okay. Similarly, what happens just as the vital force is not conceivable without the organism? Okay. So similarly, even the vital force cannot live without the organism. See, the organism cannot live without the vital force. So they are in a very strong relationship. Organism and the vital force, the material organism and the vital force, they are in an unbreakable bond. They are in a very, very strong, long-lasting relationship. Okay, so we cannot recognize the organism. So the organism literally cannot live without the vital force. Similarly, the vital force is also not conceivable without the organism. As in, if we did not have the organism, so we can see the effects of vital force through the organism, correct? Especially when it is deceased, we will see that we have proof to tell that yes, vital force exists. But if the organism was not there, we, as such, we cannot see the vital force is imperceptible. We can only recognize the vital force, or the vital force is cognizable only through its effects on the organism. So, if the organism was not there, we would not be able to recognize, or there would be no proof for the existence of vital force. So, that is what they're telling. Consequently, the two together constitute a unity. So, therefore, these two together, they become a one unit. They constitute a unity. Although in thought our mind separates this unity into two distinct conceptions for the sake of facilitating the comprehension of it. But while we are studying, or even while I am explaining, or for that matter, no matter who is explaining it to you, we will obviously we will obviously um, explain it in such a way that we think that the organism and the vital force are separate. So why are we doing this? So here he says that our mind is separating this unity into two distinct conceptions, into two different entities. And we are doing this only for the sake of facilitating the comprehension, meaning to understand easily. Okay. So in reality, actually, the organism and the vital force is just one unit. Okay, they are just one unit. They are like this. They're interlinked. They're just one unit. Okay. But in order to understand this concept of vital force, in order to understand the effects of vital force, in order to understand the concept of health, disease, and death, we will have to study this. Okay, by assuming that they are two different concepts. But in reality, what is the reality? This is the reality. That is, they are one and the same. They coexist. They are just one unit. Alright. So this is the gist of aphorism number 15. Aphorism number 15 tells us that the disease is not a separate entity from the organism or from the vital force. The deranged vital force and the totality of the symptoms that is produced by the deranged vital force, they constitute one whole. They are one unit. Similarly, even the organism and the vital force are one unit. One cannot live without the presence of the other. And and yes, just they are one unit. Okay, they together constitute a unity. And just in order to understand it easily, we are assuming it and we are explaining it in ways such that it appears to be two different entities or two different units. But in reality, it is just one single whole. All right. So if there are any questions or doubts regarding this aphorism, please put them in the comment section below. We will answer them. If you have liked this video, share it with all of your friends, and thank you for watching.